When you are a massive perfume enthusiast like me and you have hundreds of perfumes in your collection, every now and then you are bound to fall out of love with some of the fragrances in your collection. This can be permanent or it could be temporary. This has happened to me many times with some of my fragrances. I would, fall out of love with a few of them and then suddenly like rediscover them, and really fall back in love. Sometimes when I stop reaching for them, that's the end of it. I stop reaching for them. So I wanted to share with you some fragrances in my collection that I never reach for anymore. They just sit there collecting dust, essentially. So if you want to hear about what they are, my thoughts on them, just continue to watch. You already heard the intro. I don't need to repeat it. So these are the perfumes that I just never ever reach for anymore. But that doesn't mean that I won't reach for them again sometime. It could be 6 months, a year. But a lot of the times, more often than not, when I stop reaching for a perfume, I'm done reaching for it, So I can give you an example of a time when I thought I stopped reaching for a perfume and stopped wearing it for good, but then rediscovered it and love it now. An example would be the Comptoir Sud Pacifique Coco Vanille, which I now love again. So that can happen, but more often than not, when I don't reach for a fragrance, which is rare by the way, I just don't reach for it again, ever. I did another video like this a while ago because, I'm somebody who does, really good research before buying a perfume, if not at least try it before buying. And it never really goes wrong for me. I usually love what I buy. So this type of videos are kind of really rare on my channel. At some point, will I ever do a declutter video? At some point I might, especially after I do a massive collection video for you guys, which is in the making. Stay tuned. I will probably get rid of a few. I will maybe declutter a few. I never said I would never do a declutter video, unlike, some channels, they say that, oh, I'll never do a declutter, and next thing you know, there's a declutter video, or I'll never do a haul video, and there are haul videos plenty, as it's whatever is popular at the moment. That's not how it is with me. I never said I would never do a declutter video. I might, but it's going to be very rare on my channel. I'm not one of those, people on YouTube that just buy perfumes to review and just turn around and declutter them, right? So that's not me either. Anyway, check out my previous video on perfumes that I fell out of love with, which they're still in my collection, by the way. Okay, by the way, you guys, this is just the niche edition. These are just perfumes, niche perfumes that I don't reach for anymore. Although I have a lot more designer perfumes I don't reach for anymore, because just happens to be that way. Let me know if you want to see a designer version of this video. I'll be happy to do that as well. So let's take a look at what I don't reach for at all anymore, you guys. So where do I start? Where do I start? Okay, so here's one. This is one there again. I might fall back in love with this again. I don't know. This is not like a definite breakup, this one, but my husband does not like this at all. It's ironic because it's supposed to be like, it's a fragrance that was marketed, as being like very alluring and romantic and, with pink pepper and all. I mean, I fully expected for my husband to love this, but at first sniff, you guys, it wasn't even like an over time thing. The very first sniff of this fragrance, he was like, no, no. He said that when I asked him, he said that, okay, guys, I just want you to, I want to do a disclaimer before I speak any further. This is not a personal attack on anybody who loves these fragrances here. Okay, these are perfumes that I personally don't reach for anymore. I know many of these perfumes probably have diehard lovers out there, and this is not an insult on the, you know, fragrance houses, although there are some fragrance houses, if you did an honest review of their fragrance, even though you know you love their fragrance and you say everything nice about it, but you happen to mention the one thing that's not right with it, you know, like longevity, you know. So I mean, okay, so this is not personal. This is just my personal taste that has evolved past these fragrances. But anyway, so the first one I have in my hands that my husband doesn't like it. I think that's one of the main reasons why I don't reach for this at all anymore. This is Kayali Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper 25. Yeah, so this is a beautiful bottle. I absolutely love it. I still love this fragrance to some extent. Like, I love how, you know, kind of it smells very much like a it's got that oriental flair. It has like that, you know, like Middle Eastern kind of like opulence to it and everything, which I love. But it's just not something I reach for anymore, unfortunately. It doesn't mean it's a bad fragrance. It's just my taste has evolved past this, and you know, because my husband doesn't like it, I don't really reach for it all that much. Although, you know, when I first bought this, he said he didn't like it, but I continued to wear it because I liked it. But at this point, I've discovered so many amazing fragrances, even like the ones with the opulence of, you know, Middle East and everything, that are way better than this one. So moved past this. So this has notes like there's pink pepper, there's rose, there's a lot of very kind of yeah, oriental smelling notes in here. I want to say there's loads of amber in here too. By the way, I actually featured this one in my last video, the one I did like this, the last one where I did a video about perfumes I don't any longer reach for. This was in that one. Check that video out. I'll link it up here and down in the description box. I don't reach for this either. It's also from Kayali. That one I never really loved or wasn't crazy for because it has like tobacco and it's too much going on in that one. But anyway, yeah, so this is beautiful. Some people say there's oud in here. I don't really smell oud per se. Maybe there's a little bit. If it's not straight out oud, it might be something like, I don't know, oud vapor, something that resembles oud. But anyway, yeah, no longer reach for it. You know, my favorite fragrance house is Killian. I have a ton of perfumes from Killian, okay? Like, this goes to show this is nothing against fragrance houses. Honestly, the brands that I love and I love the perfumes of, they like brands like M. Micallef, you know, brands like Room 1015, you know, these beautiful like French brands especially, like they don't take things like, you know, they even if I received a fragrance from them, I do a full 100% honest review of them and they're completely fine with it because that shows the security in their creation, right? When a brand is like that, I usually love them because their creations are absolutely amazing. Niche, 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 niche. But if I said that I didn't like one of their fragrances, they're completely fine with it, you guys. See, that's the thing. As a consumer, you need to know these brands, the brands that get all, you know, they cut you off of your PR list because you said you loved their fragrance, but said that it didn't last more than 4 hours, which is not bad. And the next thing you know, they have this clique of influencers that always review the fragrance as 100% positive, their fragrance 100% positive, and they're the only ones that get it, nobody else does. Take note of things like that about brands. And then as a consumer, get smart about what you purchase, you know what I mean? But anyway, I went down a rabbit hole. What I meant to say was Killian is my favorite, one of my most favorite niche houses. And even in my most favorite niche house, from which I have the most amount of perfumes, I have like 30 perfumes from this brand, and still there are perfumes that I don't like from them. Like last video I did, like this, the last one I did, I featured Back to Back, which I no longer reach for because this is very masculine. I shouldn't have bought this in the first place, you guys. There's lots of like too much honey, and I believe there's tobacco in here too, but it's really not like my vibe. But I kept it because it's Killian, right? And I'm still probably not gonna get rid of it because I have a collection of Killian that I just don't want to really get rid of. So that was in my last video that I did like this. So in this video I am adding this one. I continue to reach for this, but increasingly I'm not reaching for this very much anymore. This is Black Phantom. Again, it's super rich and super thick and super dense and very like nutty and gourmand, like to the point it's like, you know, you can cut it with a knife. It's like very thick, like, you know, it's actually delicious. But is that my vibe? It's really not my type of scent that I want to smell. Like this I think smells better on a guy, honestly, although it is a very much a unisex fragrance. So this one I'm putting in this list. I no longer reach for it. You can tell by, you know, I barely put any dent into it at all. Here's another one I never reach for. Now there again, disclaimer, I know there are a lot of fans of this fragrance out there, so don't come for me. And this is personal choice, personal preference. This Byredo Bal Freak, I don't reach for at all. I don't know why. It's a very beautiful, pretty fragrance. It's very refreshing, very light, very summery. But I just don't reach for it, you guys. I just don't. It's not, you know, it's not noteworthy or what do you call it, memorable. That's the thing. A perfume needs to be memorable enough for you to remember to reach for it. Oh, I want that. I want to smell like that. This is not a fragrance that is memorable, like to me anyway, that I don't remember this even is there. And yeah, so Byredo is a house that is kind of iffy for me to begin with, because I think they're way overpriced for what they are. They're very light scents. They don't really last all that long either, and it's like you're paying through the teeth for a juice that you can get elsewhere for 1/10 of the price. Maybe you like even more, right? This one has like marigold, like citruses, blackcurrant, all these juicy notes, very summery, some, you know, like violet and jasmine, like pretty florals, like summertime florals with a little hint of musk and woody notes. But you know, it sounds great in theory, and it is beautiful, but I just don't reach for it. I don't know why, guys. I don't. Okay, here's another tragedy. This one is actually really beautiful, and this is, I know for a fact that I'm probably never going to get rid of this fragrance. I'm gonna keep it in my collection, but unfortunately I often forget to reach for it. There again, it's not super memorable to me, though there are people who love this, I'm sure. This is from Penhaligons. This is what do you call it, something Helen, oh, Heartless Helen. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know, maybe because Helen is too heartless for me, I don't know. This is that beautiful tuberose scent, you guys. It's a through and through tuberose fragrance. Very like, has a little slight sweet bubblegummy type like vibe from the tuberose. Honestly, there are other notes in here, but tuberose is really what you smell the most. So if you're like a huge tuberose fan, you would love this. This also doesn't last very long on the skin. As you can see, I haven't really worn it that much at all. I constantly forget to reach for it. I think the other reason is because this smells very similar to the, what do you call it, Diptyque D'Ossant. Now that is a tuberose dominant fragrance too, but I love that one a lot more than I like this one. So that may be another reason why I don't end up reaching for it as much as I thought I was going to. I love tuberose actually, but I have other ones that are more memorable to me somehow. Here's another perfume I thought I was going to absolutely love, but I wore it like 3 times, you guys, and never ever reached for it again. This is also not memorable, not special, not noteworthy. It's not groundbreaking, so I just don't remember to wear it. This is Nishane Zen. This is like, you know, it's actually beautiful. It smells really good. But there again, there are so many other ones that smell like this to me. For example, I feel like the Kajal, Lamar, and Dahab, like these are along the same lines, but those two are a lot more noteworthy and memorable, starting from packaging to the way they smell and perform, that this is like, you know, in the back, you know, got forgotten. So this has like rhubarb, you know, what do you call it, blackcurrant with that juicy burst of juiciness. It's a very fruity, very fruity perfume. Has some beautiful floral notes like rose and gardenia, some sandalwood and vanilla. I mean, ambergris, what's not to like? Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of notes in here that I do really like, but I just somehow just don't remember to reach for this. I don't really know why. Sometimes you can't really explain why, right? So yeah, Nishane Zen. Now this, you guys, I loved this when I bought this. I liked it, but somehow over time I just stopped reaching for it. You can tell I haven't put much of a dent into it. This is from House of Sillage. This is, what do you call it? I forgot the name now. Passion de l'Amour. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is like a very like fall winter fragrance. So this actually almost smells a little bit tonka beanie, but that vibe actually comes from the fact that there is a lot of vanilla in here, but also it has amorous and liatris, you guys. I think it's the liatris that honestly that gives out that sort of vibe, that sultry herbally vibe to this fragrance. Liatris is a very kind of sultry honeyed floral, very kind of almost herbal. Yeah, so yeah, it is liatris. It has like almost like a, gosh, what am I trying to, this almost has a balsamic kind of vibe about it, which it is because it has amorous, right? Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely beautiful, but I just forget to reach for it. I don't know why. Maybe when fall comes around again. I'm actually not talking just about summer, by the way, you guys. I am talking about my overall fragrance collection, thinking back to last fall as well, what I didn't reach for, and the fall before that. So this, even in fall time, I didn't reach for it as much as I thought I would, which I should. This actually is beautiful, but I don't know why. And then I have another one from House of Sillage, Chevaudan. This one, you guys, again, also don't reach for anymore. I bought this, wore it like a couple times, and that was it. A few times I wore it, and that was it. This is basically a rose fragrance. There are so many different rose notes in it. Bulgarian rose, Turkish rose, and other rose notes. It also has like wild like strawberry and like raspberry and stuff, which, you know, it sounds all good, and some vanilla and all that, and tonka bean with vanilla, but it doesn't smell remarkable enough for me. I mean, you know, this I bought when I didn't have as many rose fragrances in my collection as I do now. I'm a huge rose lover, and I have so many beautiful rose fragrances now, and this pales in comparison. So I think that's why I don't reach for it anymore, because I have so many more beautiful rose fragrances that I have added to my collection, like, you know, the Killian Rose Oud, possibilities. I mean, like, the list goes on. I have like a ton of rose fragrances that I absolutely love, and that's not one of them. It's just kind of like so-so, you know. Here's another perfume I never wear anymore. Honestly, I didn't wear it much to begin with. I bought it, wore it a few times, put it away, never looked back. This is by Tiziana Terenzi. This is Lince. This is a very unremarkable kind of powdery fragrance that just didn't resonate with me. This actually has like so many interesting notes. in theory, it should be something that I really want. This, for example, has absinthe apparently, and like powdery notes like iris. It's right up my alley, you know, and even fig, I believe, and all these beautiful floral notes. It has heliotrope too, ambergris, vanilla, sandalwood, all these beautiful notes, but I just don't reach for it. It's not remarkable enough. Okay, so yeah, I don't wear Lince anymore. I don't know if I'll declutter it someday. I've never done a declutter at all, but I want to someday, and when I do, that might be one that goes. And here's another one from Tiziana Terenzi that I never reach for anymore. This is Spirito Florentino. This should be, again, right up my alley. It's a beautiful like leather fragrance that actually has a slight hint of almost Baccarat Rouge 540 vibe, which everybody loves to compare things to. But no, it doesn't really smell like Baccarat Rouge 540, but it smells, resembles it only because it has ambergris, which Baccarat Rouge 540 has as well. That sort of marine woody kind of vibe, and then saffron, which is another very distinct note that Baccarat Rouge 540 has. So this has those two. That's where that comes from. But this leans very much leather. This is a leather fragrance, again, right up my alley, and it has beautiful floral notes like Lily of the Valley and all these, you know, I think even Ylang Ylang or something, although I don't smell those at all very much. It's very strongly leather. Leather fragrances don't scare me. I love leather fragrances. They are very luxurious. But this one just didn't, you know, stand out to me from all the gorgeous leather perfumes now I have in my collection, like Sugar Leather, which by the way, I've been obsessed with. And the, what you call Louis Raj by Christian Louboutin. When you compare it to those, really, it just doesn't, it kind of pales in comparison, you know what I mean? It's a lighter, kind of leather fragrance, but I think this will smell better on a man, honestly. That might be the other reason. Okay, you guys, here's another one that I really don't reach for at all. I bought this because we also, us creators, sometimes also fall into the hype too sometimes. I think I only bought this because Demi reviews this and reviewed this and still reviews it and speak about this highly. But this is, by the way, this is Overture by Xerjoff, but this just didn't, it didn't, you know, really, I didn't take to it. Like, this is one of those ones that I fell in the hype, you know, fell for the hype and bought. This has, I think one of the reasons why I don't like this is because this has that fig leaf note, which I can pick out anywhere. Like whenever there's fig leaf, it's one of the green notes that I don't like. There are really beautiful green notes, but fig leaf is not one of them. There's a strong fig leaf in the opening that I always pick up. This is very balsamic, by the way, very warm, spicy, and there's smoky incense kind of vibe in here. There's loads of, obviously, you know, amber in here. This has like florals like ylang ylang and jasmines and stuff. A lot of people talk about this fragrance as if this is a summer fragrance. I don't understand why, because this is very smoky, very heavy. This is a very smoky, heavy fragrance. Just because there's ylang ylang in it doesn't mean this is a summer fragrance, you guys. It depends on how the fragrance smells and performs, really, to decide which season it should work in. This is more smoky than anything. Kind of balsamic too, and it's more suitable for cold weather in my opinion. But I think the fig leaf was the turn off for me, and it's also a little too dense, I feel. Yeah, I just, you know, I have better ones. Like I love Xerjoff Muse. Amazing fragrance, for example. There are other fragrances like that I like more, like from Christian Louboutin, for example. The Louis Prince is one that's kind of like this. There's so many others that are smoky that I like more than that one. So yeah, I no longer reach for it. And here's another unfortunate thing. This is actually beautiful. This is a very popular fragrance. This is also from Xerjoff. By the way, Xerjoff is one of my favorite fragrance houses ever, and there are so many diehard loves from this fragrance house, but there are a couple, like there again, even from your most favorite house, there are sometimes fragrances that don't work. And usually fragrance houses that are confident in themselves don't really have a problem people expressing their honest thoughts on fragrances. Established, you know, seasoned fragrance houses don't feel like that. This is Coffee Break Golden Dollar by Xerjoff. This is a coffee like fragrance. The coffee note is very, very prominent. There are like lots of beautiful warm spices. I think cardamom in here, very prominent cardamom note. This actually does smell like Turkish coffee, right? A lot, yeah, with the spices in it, especially the cardamom note is very prominent with that coffee note. So yeah, you get like a little bit of a smoky, warm, spicy coffee fragrance. I loved it when I bought it. Like, it's great for cold weather when I bought it, but it's not very feminine. It's a very unisex fragrance, leaning masculine. It didn't make me feel feminine and pretty and sexy or any of those things, or unique. It is a unique fragrance. It just wasn't something that I felt like I wanted to smell like anymore, so I don't reach for it anymore, although it's a very popular fragrance. And lastly, I have here Montale Intense Cherry. I hate the Montale. I shouldn't say the word hate, it's too strong. I dislike the packaging of Montale fragrances because this thing, atomizer cap, keeps falling off with that pin. Oh, it drives me nuts. Obviously fell off somewhere in my collection on the shelf somewhere. I need to dig out, and I have to empty everything to find out where it dropped exactly. But sorry, I can't actually smell this right now, but I know what it smells like. It's a very synthetic smelling cherry fragrance. It's just, I think the reason why I don't reach for this anymore is because I loved it when I bought it and I wore it quite a bit. But since then, there have been so many amazing cherry fragrances like Room 1015 Cherry Punk or Tom Ford's Electric Cherry, and all these beautiful cherry fragrances that, oh, and Bodecia the Victorious, Bodacious, another great one. So many great cherry fragrances that I don't reach for this anymore, you guys. So it's like one that sits there and collects dust now. I didn't see, like, not even the atomizer is on it, you know what I mean? So yeah, you guys, that's it. Those are the perfumes, niche perfumes, that I don't reach for anymore in my collection these days. This is just the niche edition. Let me know if you want me to do a designer edition of this perfumes that I don't reach for anymore. I think I have a lot more designer ones that I don't reach for anymore than I do niche perfumes. I usually love my niche perfumes, you know, each and every one of them, because they're so unique and so high quality. I'm not saying designer fragrances aren't. There are really amazing designer fragrances, but there are some other ones that are so mainstream that just, you know, aren't a love anymore. So let me know down in the comment section if you want me to do a designer version of this video where, you know, about fragrances I don't really reach for anymore. So let me know down in the comment section that, you know, what you want to know about designer ones. If you want to see that video, also let me know what fragrances you don't reach for anymore. Okay, because I would love to know the niche ones, right? We'll talk about the designer ones in the other video. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok, where I post all the digestible short fun content. I'll see you guys in my next video.